At 13, my abusive dad kicked me out into the January cold half-naked, saying, "You don't deserve to live after believing my golden brother lies about me." Years later, karma hit them hard. Sup, Reddit. My golden boy brother let me take the fall when I was 13, watched me get beaten and tossed out into the snow, and then went right back to living his perfect little life. 13 years later, all it took was one panic text from him for everything to finally come crashing down. I'm 26 now, male, and even though the real explosion happened when I was 13, the truth is my life had been a mess long before that. My parents had me at 36. Unexpected doesn't come close. I was more like life's unwanted bonus round. They already had 2 kids and were done with diapers, tantrums, school pickups. Then I showed up. Neither of them wanted a reset. My brother, Garrett, was 4 years older. Dad's pride, the definition of a golden child. Straightforward path, varsity baseball, decent grades, the right crowd, trophies everywhere. Dad went to every game, bought him gear like he was being scouted by the MLB, bragged about him constantly. My sister Kendra was 2 years older and basically a carbon copy of mom. Weaponized victimhood. She'd break something and point at me, swipe cash from mom's purse and swear I did it. Start fights, then cry the second dad came home so I'd get the punishment. Mom never stepped in. She just turned the attention onto herself. If dad hit me, she'd sob about how overwhelmed she was. If I tried to talk about what Kendra did, she'd sigh and accuse me of creating drama. Somehow she was always the victim, even when the situation had nothing to do with her. The worst part? I never knew what would set dad off. Could be anything. Got a B on a math quiz. He threw the paper at me and called me useless. Broke a glass doing dishes. He made me stand outside in the freezing cold for an hour. No shoes, no jacket, just me shivering while he watched TV like I wasn't even there. Garrett and Kendra never cared. I wasn't part of their world. Only one person ever treated me like a human being, Dad's dad. I called him Pop. He lived about half an hour away and came over once a month or so. He always noticed the bruises, the flinching, the way I barely talked. He never confronted anyone directly, but he'd always pull me aside, ask about school, bring me little gifts or books. He was the only decent adult in my orbit. Mom hated when he visited. She'd turn into this brittle, fake version of herself. Dad behaved better too, like they were scared Pop would finally call them out. They never dared hit me or yell when he was around. Then Garrett screwed up, and instead of owning it, he sacrificed me to save himself. And that's when everything snapped. Dad collected vintage baseball cards, not the cheap ones, the expensive old-school sets from the 60s and 70s. He had them in a locked cabinet and treated them like treasure. Garrett had the combination because Dad trusted him, some father-son bonding garbage. One Tuesday, I got home after school. House was quiet. Mom at work. Kendra gone. Dad not home yet. Garrett was supposed to be at practice. I went to my room, started homework. An hour later, I heard Garrett's door, then the front door slam. Looked outside. Saw him peeling out of the driveway. Dad came home at 6. Like always, he went straight to his office. I heard the cabinet open. Silence. Then that voice, the cold one that meant hell was coming. "Where are my cards?" I froze. Then I heard him shout, "Garrett!" Garrett must have come back because I heard him on the stairs. I pressed my ear to the door. "Dad, where are my cards?" "Garrett, what cards?" "Dad, don't play dumb." 3 from my 67 set are gone. Silence. Garrett realizing he messed up. Then I didn't take them. It had to be him. My blood went cold. "Dad, what?" "Garrett, your youngest. He's always poking around your office. I saw him in there last week." I stepped out of my room. I didn't touch anything. Dad looked at me, face red, fists curling. "You calling your brother a liar?" "I'm saying I didn't take anything. I don't even know the combination." Garrett jumped in fast. "Yeah, because you're too stupid to figure it out. You probably watched Dad open it." "I didn't," I said. Dad stepped closer. "Don't lie to me. I'm not lying." "Then you're saying Garrett is?" I looked right at Garrett. He stared at me like I was nothing. No guilt, no fear, just boredom. "Yeah," I said. "He's lying. He took the cards and now he's blaming me." Garrett's expression hardened. He stepped forward, slow. "Say that again." "You're lying," I repeated. "You stole the cards." Garrett shoved me hard. I stumbled back into the wall. "Stop," Dad said. But not to Garrett. To me. "Stop making this worse." Garrett shoved me again. I pushed him back. The two of us started swinging wildly in the hallway, slamming into walls, grabbing at each other, just full-on chaos. It only lasted maybe 10 seconds before Dad yanked us apart and threw me to the floor like trash. "Where are they?" His voice was colder than ice. "I don't know. I didn't take them." He grabbed a fistful of my shirt and hauled me into my room. Then he started tearing the place apart, ripping books off shelves, dumping drawers, flipping my mattress like I had hundreds of dollars worth of cards tucked inside. Of course he found nothing. There was nothing to find. But none of that mattered. Garrett blamed me. Dad believed him. That was the beginning and end of the story. Mom came home halfway through the destruction. She stepped into my doorway, saw Dad towering over me, the mess everywhere. "What's going on?" "Your son stole my cards," Dad said. Mom looked at me, then at the disaster in the room, and let out this long, theatrical sigh, like I'd purposely ruined her whole day. "Why do you always do this to us?" Not, "Are you hurt?" Not, "Let's figure this out." Just immediate blame and victimhood. "I didn't take anything," I said. "Then who did?" she snapped. Before I could answer, Garrett appeared in the doorway. "Stop lying," he said smoothly, like he was just correcting a toddler. Then Kendra walked in not long after. Dad turned to her. "Did you see your brother in my office?" She looked at Garrett, then at me, then back to Dad. I could practically see her weighing it, side with the favorite or with me. "Yeah," she said. "I saw him in there last week." A complete lie. She hadn't even been home that week, but it didn't matter. She backed up Garrett, and that was enough. Now it was 2 against 1. 2 liars, 1 scapegoat. Dad grabbed my arm so hard I knew it would bruise. "You're going to tell me where those cards are." "I can't tell you something I don't know," I said. "I didn't take them." He hit me across the face. A sharp backhand that knocked my head to the side and filled my mouth with blood. Mom gasped but didn't move. Garrett and Kendra just watched like it was entertainment. "Tell me," he said. "I didn't do it." He hit me again, then again. Eventually, I just stopped raising my hands. What was the point? When he finally backed off, I was on the floor, my face pounding, ears ringing. Dad stood over me like I'd intentionally robbed him blind. "You cost me thousands of dollars," he said. "Those cards were worth more than you'll ever be." And then the line that cracked something deep inside me. "I wish we never had you." Something inside me snapped. I stared up at him. "You shouldn't have had me if you hated me this much." The room froze. Even Garrett and Kendra's smug expressions faltered. Dad's face darkened into something almost inhuman. "What did you just say?" "You shouldn't have had me," I repeated. "You've made it pretty obvious. I'm just a mistake you've been trying to forget for 13 years. That was it. He grabbed me, dragged me through the house, unlocked the front door, and pulled it open. It was January, snow everywhere, temperatures below freezing. I was in a t-shirt and shorts, barefoot, basically exposed to the elements. "Get out." "What?" "You don't deserve to live." "You're not my son." He shoved me onto the porch and slammed the door. I heard the lock click immediately after. I stood there maybe half a minute, completely stunned. Then I heard Dad shouting inside, probably at Mom. No one was coming for me. The cold hit fast, biting, painful. I banged on the door. "Dad! Dad, come on, it's freezing!" "Silence!" I yelled, begged, knocked until my hands hurt. The neighbors' lights were on, but nobody came. They were used to the yelling. This was just another night for them. Eventually I stopped. My fingers were going numb. I walked off the porch and down the driveway, snow soaking straight through my socks. I trudged half a mile to the Shell station. There was still a payphone, back then. The clerk stared but didn't intervene. I dialed Pop. "Hello?" "Pop, it's me." "Hey kiddo, what's wrong?" He heard it in my voice before I even said the words. Dad kicked me out. "I'm at the Shell on Maple. Can you come get me?" "I'll be there in 25 minutes. Stay inside where it's warm." He showed up in 20. One look at me and his whole expression hardened. What happened? I told him everything, in the car. The cards, the lies, the beating, Dad throwing me outside. Pop didn't interrupt, just listened with his jaw clenched tight. At his house, he made me shower and gave me warm clothes. Then he called Dad. I couldn't hear Dad's end of the conversation, but Pop didn't mince words. "You kicked a 13-year-old outside in the snow," he said. "I don't care what you think he did. He's staying with me. And if you come to this house, I will call the police and tell them everything. The hitting, the neglect, all of it. Try me." He hung up and turned to me. "You're staying here now, permanently." "What about Mom?" I asked. "I'll take care of it," he said. "She'll sign whatever needs signing. She won't want the police asking why her son nearly froze to death. And I know a family lawyer who owes me. We'll get emergency custody first, then permanent guardianship." With the history of abuse and what happened that night, Pop said they wouldn't dare contest it. He was right. I didn't understand the full weight of it until the next morning when I woke up burning with fever. Turns out standing in the snow for 10 minutes and walking half a mile in soaked socks is basically a fast track to getting sick. Pop took me to the doctor. I had a rough cold and early signs of mild exposure. The doctor said if I'd stayed outside any longer, it could have been a lot worse. Pop's jaw clenched so hard I thought his teeth might break. I spent the next 2 weeks knocked out in bed. Feverish, shivering, drifting in and out of sleep. Pop led everything. Meals, meds, blankets, checking my temperature. making sure I didn't get worse. Mom came by once, didn't step inside. She hovered in the doorway while Pop stared daggers at her. She signed whatever custody forms Pop shoved at her, asked me if I was doing okay in this detached monotone, and left before I could even answer. I never returned to that house. Life with Pop was quiet, predictable, safe, no yelling, no walking on eggshells, no fists flying out of nowhere. He didn't have much, a little two-bedroom place on the outskirts of town, but for the first time ever, I wasn't bracing for the next blow. The first few months were strange. I kept waiting for something bad to happen, waiting for Pop to decide I was too much trouble, but he never did. He actually wanted me there. And without the constant terror of home, school suddenly got easier. My grades jumped from average to good, then from good to excellent. Turns out learning isn't hard when you're not in survival mode. By freshman year, I was getting straight A's without killing myself over it. I got a job at 14 washing dishes at a diner. Lied about my age, said I was 16. The manager didn't care and hired me anyway. I showed up on time, worked hard, never complained. Within 2 years, they had me working the line on busy shifts. The pay wasn't amazing, but every dollar mattered. Dad never called. Neither did Mom, or Garrett, or Kendra. Sophomore year, I got roped into robotics club. My physics teacher basically refused to leave me alone about it. I figured I'd try it once, and ended up loving it. Building machines, fixing problems, using my brain and my hands at the same time. It just clicked. We made it to state that year and finished top 10, which was huge for our tiny school. Junior year, I attacked scholarships like it was my full-time job, dozens of applications, essays, interview, and hours of work. In April, the big one hit, a full-ride engineering scholarship to State University. Everything paid, tuition, housing, meals, fees, all of it. I showed Pop the acceptance letter. He read it twice before he hugged me. "Proud of you, kiddo," he said, loudest he'd ever said anything. I graduated third in my class. Pop sat in the front row at my ceremony, cheering like a one-man stadium. My family didn't show up. I didn't expect them to. College hit like a shockwave. Surrounded by people who actually cared about their futures, I dove straight into mechanical engineering. Hard program, but compared to the home I grew up in, easy. I worked all through college. Machine shop job on campus. Brutal summer shifts at a manufacturing plant. Long hours, loud machines, lousy pay, but it helped me build savings. I refused to ever be financially vulnerable again. I graduated at 22 with no debt, a degree, and a pretty healthy amount tucked away. An aerospace company hired me right out of the gate, starting salary $65,000. That kind of money felt unreal. I moved to a new city, got a modest apartment, bought a used car with cash, and kept living cheaply. No splurging, no nonsense. I saved and invested aggressively. By 25, I had enough for a down payment on a home. Found a place in a calm neighborhood, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, decent yard. Nothing fancy but solid. I put down a big chunk and kept the mortgage low. I spent a month fixing the place up. Painting, updating fixtures, repairing the backyard fence, making it mine. Then I called Pop. "Kiddo, how's the new place?" "Good. Actually, I've got extra rooms. You should move in." He went quiet for a moment. "You sure?" "Yeah, you took me in when no one else would. Let me return the favor. Plus your house is falling apart and you're too stubborn to admit it." He laughed. And 2 weeks late, he moved in. We set up a bedroom just for him. He tried to pay rent. I shut that down immediately. Tried to help with utilities. "Nope." "You already paid," I told him. "You saved me." We settled into a routine. I worked during the day. He did light chores, ran errands, handled little repairs. We had dinner together almost every night, normal, quiet. For the first time in my life, I felt like part of an actual family. That whole year, best year of my existence. Then Dad showed up. One Thursday, I pulled into the driveway and saw a beat-up old sedan parked there. Something in my gut twisted. Pop was on the porch, tense, arms crossed. Dad stood beside him. Older, grayer, more worn down, but with the same hard stare he used to give me before a beating. Later, I'd learned he'd been asking around town, digging up my address through public records. Property info is easy to find when you know someone's name, but in the moment, all I could think was, why is he here? I kept my face blank. "Can I help you?" He looked me over like he was appraising a piece of equipment. "So you made something of yourself. Nice place. What do you want?" He smirked. "I came to check out my new home." I almost laughed. "Your what?" "This house," he said. "I'm moving in. Lost my apartment last month. I need a place to stay. You've got extra rooms, and I'm your father. It's your job to take care of me. I'm moving in. Stop acting difficult. This place is way too big for just you. Honestly, I don't even know how you're affording it alone." Once I get a job, I'll pitch in. I own this house, and you're not stepping foot inside it. He brushed that off, like I was being childish. You wouldn't even know how to be successful if I hadn't raised you properly. Everything you have is because I taught you discipline. The least you can do is give your father a room. Pop made a sound that was Hal. Fway between a snort and a cough. I just stared at the man. Stop being selfish. I'm your father. You owe me. I don't owe you a damn thing. His eyes hardened instantly. Watch your mouth. I don't care how old you think you are. You don't talk to me like that. Then get off my property before I make you. He stepped closer, puffing up his chest the way he used to when I was a kid, trying to intimidate me with size alone. You think you're tough now. You're still that frightened little boy who couldn't even look at me. No, I'm the adult you built by beating me for 13 years and throwing me into the snow. And I'm telling you to leave my porch, or I'll handle it in the way you'll actually understand. You wouldn't have anything without me raising you, he snapped, raising his voice. I actually laughed. Raising me? You beat me half to death over baseball cards. $6,000 worth of collectibles that you ruined. You blamed me, kicked me out at 13, and I'm apparently the one who owes you? You're delusional. You're not getting a room, you're not getting money, you're not getting anything. I didn't touch your cards. Garrett stole them. Sure, that's what you said. Always lying. You lied then, you're lying now. It's time to pay me back for everything you put me through. I'm moving in and you're covering my bills until I'm stable again. You owe me that much. This conversation is done. Leave. You don't tell me what to do. Actually, yeah, I do. It's a legal concept called private property. This is mine. You are trespassing. Leave now or I'm calling the cops. He let out this cruel little laugh. The police? For what? Trespassing. Harassment. And if you want to go down that road, I'll add in assault of a minor. Pop kept receipts. Isn't that right, Pop? Pop nodded. Hospital records, photos, every injury, all documented. Duh. Dee's expression shifted. Calculating, not afraid. He could tell this wasn't the helpless kid he used to swing at. You're making a mistake, he muttered. You stopped being family when you left me freezing outside at 13 over something I didn't do. Now you're just a trespasser. I'm going inside to grab my phone. If you're still here when I come back, I'm dialing 911. Your call. I walked inside, heard him try to say something, but Pop interrupted. You heard him. Go. When I came back out with my phone, Dad had moved a few steps back. His car door was open. You're going to regret this, he said. No, I'm really not. Here's what's happening. You leave. You don't come back. You don't call. You don't show up at my job. If I see you near my house, I'll get a restraining order and press every charge I legally can. And Pop's got enough documentation to bury you. Are we clear? His jaw clenched. For a second, I thought he might actually try something. But then he got in his car. This isn't over, he hissed. Yeah, it is, because next time I see you, you're going to jail. He sped off, tires squealing like a teenager. Pop and I watched him go. You think he'll try coming back? Pop asked. Maybe. Doesn't matter. If he does, I'll follow through. I'm done with all of them. He wasn't getting this house. He wasn't getting a dime. He wasn't getting anything. I didn't hear from him for 2 weeks. Then Garrett texted me. First time in 13 years. Garrett, hey, can we talk? Me? About what? Garrett? About everything. I messed up back then. I want to apologize. Me, yeah, you tried that before. Didn't care then either. Garrett, things are different now. Dad's all over me. I'm trying to fix the family. Me, not my issue. Garrett, come on, man. We're brothers. I almost laughed. We were never brothers. You threw me under the bus to save your own skin and let me get beaten for it. Then you lived your life while I got kicked out into the snow. Whatever you're dealing with now, handle it yourself. I put my phone down. Should have been the end of it. But Garrett kept texting. Dozens of messages. Some apologizing, some guilt-tripping, some whining. I ignored all of them. Then one message actually made me pause. Garrett, Dad's losing it. I think he's going to do something stupid. I stared at that one. Part of me genuinely didn't care, but another part saw an opportunity. Garrett was scared, Dad was unstable, and Garrett knew damn well he'd been lying for years. Time to press that nerve. Me, yeah, Pop mentioned something Dad's been telling people. He thinks he was lied to back then. Garrett lied to about what? Me, the cards. Pop ran into one of Dad's old buddies. Guy said Dad keeps rambling about how one of his kids lied to him about something big, keeps saying he needs to figure out what really happened. The typing bubble came and went for nearly 2 minutes. Finally, Garrett, what do you mean? Me, Pop said Dad keeps bringing up the cards, like he thinks he was wrong about something. I could practically see Garrett panicking. Another long set of dots. Then, Garrett, okay, look. I have to be honest because Dad is freaking out and I need backup. The cards? That was me. I took them. I sold 2. The 67 mantle got damaged in my car. I panicked and blamed you because Dad was already furious and you know how he gets. I reread it twice, took a screenshot, saved it in multiple places. He kept going, Dad's been obsessed with this for years. He uses that story as his excuse for everything going wrong in his life. He acts like you burned the house down. And now he's apparently digging again. I didn't mean for it to blow up like this. I was a kid. He's the one who beat you and kicked you out. I made a mistake, but he is the real issue here. And if he's truly spiraling, I need you to have my back. We can tell him together. Make him understand it was just a stupid kid mistake, and he needs to let it go. You know how he gets when he has only one person to focus on. But if we both talk to him, maybe, he'll actually listen for once. Then one more message. Can you help me here? I'm serious about fixing this, but I can't handle Dad by myself. You've always been better at managing him. I stared at my phone. After more than a decade, he just handed me everything. A written confession because he thought I'd step in and guide him through Dad's meltdown. Thought he could blame Dad, rewrite the past, and use me as his shield. And the best part? He admitted he stole the cards on purpose. Sold them. Not a misunderstanding, not a mistake. Straight up theft, and he still somehow cast himself as the victim. It was almost too easy. Yeah, I texted. I'll help, he replied instantly, relief pouring out of the message. Thank you, man. Seriously, I knew you'd understand. Dad's always been the real issue, and you know that better than anyone. So, when do you want to talk to him? I didn't answer. Instead, I opened a new message, to Dad. Sent what needed to be sent. Put my phone away and got back to work. 2 hours later, another text from Garrett. You still there? Then, so when do you want to meet with him? Public is better so he can't explode. Then, hey, seriously, what's the plan? I need to know. He sent 6 more messages that hour, each one more frantic, asking why I was silent, reminding me he trusted me, whining that we were supposed to handle it as a team. And then, the inevitable. You sent it to him, didn't you? You piece of garbage. I asked you for help. I trusted you and you sold me out. Do you know what you just did to me? I almost laughed. He trusted me the exact same way I trusted him at 13, right before he fed me to Dad to save himself. Funny how karma works. I didn't look at my phone again until lunch. 23 missed calls, 12 from Garrett, 8 from Kendra, 3 from Mom, 1 voicemail from Garrett, him screaming, panicking, begging me to tell Dad it was fake, begging me to say I photoshopped it, said Dad beat him so badly he could barely walk, said Dad kicked him out and told him never to come back. 2 days later, a text from an unknown number. Family meeting tonight, 7 p.m., your mother's house. Be there. It was Dad. 10 minutes later. This is not optional. When I pulled up, Dad's truck was out front, Garrett's car, Kendra's car. I walked in without knocking. The whole family was gathered, Mom on the couch looking skittish, Kendra beside her. Garrett sinking into an armchair pretending to be calm, Dad in the center of the room, laptop open on the coffee table. Everyone turned as I entered. Garrett's face drained white. What's he doing here? Dad looked at me with an expression I'd never seen from him. Calm, cold, focused. Sit down. I didn't. I stayed by the door, arms crossed. Mom opened her mouth, but Dad snapped. Enough. Everyone shut up and listen. Silence. He turned the laptop toward us. Garrett's confession lighting up the screen. Garrett, Dad said, voice too controlled. Explain this. Garrett shifted in his chair. Dad, I told you. He faked it. Stop. Garrett froze. I made you show me the messages on your phone. Same number, same timestamps, no edits, no excuses. Dad's jaw flexed. You wrote this. You admitted it. You lied to me for 13 years. The room felt like a vacuum. Kendra stared at the floor. Mom had her hand pressed over her mouth. Garrett tried again. I was scared, okay? I was a kid. I panicked. You were 17, Dad snapped. Old. Enough to know better. Old enough to let your brother take a beating for something you did. Old enough to watch me throw him out in a blizzard. It was a mistake. No, Dad cut him off. You made a decision, and every single day for 13 years you chose to stay quiet. You went to college I paid for, drove the car I bought, lived in the apartment I funded. Meanwhile, he pointed at me, he was pulling doubles at a diner and sleeping in his grandfather's spare room. Garrett's voice cracked. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I should have. The slap hit before he finished speaking, so fast it blurred. The crack echoed around the room. Garrett's head whipped sideways. He grabbed his cheek, stunned. Nobody made a sound. Dad towered over him. You watched me destroy the wrong kid. And you let me. Garrett opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Dad turned to Kendra. And you? Her eyes widened. Dad, I didn't. Don't you dare. His hand trembled, not with fear, with fury. You backed his lie. You ate dinner at my table for 13 years pretending you were innocent. Kendra burst into tears. I was scared. Scared of what? Doing the right thing? Mom tried again, weakly. Please, can we all just sit? She sat. Dad looked around slowly, Garrett shaking, Kendra crying, Mom frozen. Then he faced me. I'm sorry. I didn't move. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry for what I did to you. I'm sorry for 13 years of blaming the wrong son. His voice broke. I threw out the wrong kid. I said nothing. Dad turned back to the other two. You're both out. I'm changing my will tomorrow. Out of my house, out of my life. You want to start from scratch like he had to? He pointed at me again. Go ahead. Learn what it feels like. Garrett staggered to his feet. Dad, please. Get out. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my concern anymore. Garrett looked at me like I was supposed to swoop in and save him. I stared back, silent. He grabbed his jacket and stormed out. Kendra was crying quietly. Daddy, please, you too, out. She looked at Mom, who wouldn't even meet her eyes. Kendra left, shutting the door soft as tissue paper. The room stayed still except for Mom's muffled sobbing. Dad turned toward me again. Can we talk? No. I know I don't deserve. You don't? I want to make things right. You can't. What can I do? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. I don't need your apology, your money, your validation. Nothing. I headed for the door. Enjoy the house without them. I walked out, drove home. Pop was waiting with a book in his lap. How'd it go? Dad slapped Garrett in front of everyone. Kicked them both out. Cut them out of the will. Pop nodded, slow and satisfied. Good. He stretched. Tea? Yeah. 2 days later, Garrett showed up. I saw him from the front window. Rough, unshaven, clothes wrinkled, duffel bag slung over one shoulder. Looked like he'd been sleeping, in his car. He knocked. I didn't move. Knocked again. I know you're in there. Just open up. We need to talk. Pop came out of the kitchen, saw him. Want me to handle it? No. I've got it. I cracked the door with the chain still latched. What? I need a place to stay. No. Come on, man. I'm your brother. You're the person who ruined my childhood to protect yourself. That's all. I apologized. You confessed. That's not the same thing. I have nowhere else to go. That's your problem. I shut the door, locked it, walked away. He pounded and yelled about forgiveness, family, second chances, then gave up. His engine revved. Pop peeked from the doorway. Feel bad? No. He nodded and went back to the kitchen. That was that. The next week, nonstop messages. Mom, Garrett, Kendra. Same guilt, paraphrased 100 ways. Kendra tracked me down a month later, waiting by my car after work. She looked thinner, tired, like life without Dad's support was hitting her hard. I have a deal for you, she said. I kept walking. Just listen. Dad wants to talk. He'll, I don't know, help you out. Down payment on a bigger place, new truck, whatever. Just meet him once. I turned around. You're trying to negotiate a reconciliation so you can get back in the will. Her face went red. That's not... Yeah, it is. You think if I hug it out with him, he'll soften and let you back in. That's your whole angle. We're family. No. You were insurance. You watched what he did to me and stayed quiet because it kept you safe. Now that safety's gone, you're scrambling. I got in my car. Good luck with that. She was still standing there when I pulled away. I blocked her number that night. 2 weeks later, an envelope came. Mom's handwriting. No return address. Inside, a Thanksgiving photo. Mom at one end, Garrett and Kendra flanking her. Dad nowhere in sight. An empty chair in the center. My old seat. Like a prop. A note. We miss you. There's always a place for you here. I looked at it for 10 seconds, tossed it in the trash, went to the garage. Pop glanced up from his book. What was that? Mom trying again. Work? No. Good. Haven't heard a word since. Dad updated the will. Garrett and Kendra get nothing. Mom sends birthday cards I don't open, and I'm here in the house I paid for, built on my work, eating dinner with Pop, tinkering in my garage, living a life that's finally mine. They had 13 years to act like family. They didn't. Now they get the version of me that doesn't care. Pop looked up from his book. You good? Yeah, I said. And for the first time in my life, I meant it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and helps us bring more stories your way.